Talenta, Kumi. Talenta, Kumi. Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek.
Yo, resurrected, elected from the grave. I ain't worried about a demon defeat me, not today. I'ma stand on my feet with the meek. We on the way, dry bones in the valley. I'm rallying for the save. Dry bones in the valley, living but underpaid. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We need change. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We feel shame. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We need flames.
As hard as these words is simply just the canvas that I wrote on. Can't supplement the faith, no creatine, but it's so strong. In our youth, we used to hit the block, getting our roll on. Now we take the gospel to the blocks, we so dope on. Those that tried to stop our faith, we told them so long. The rise of my people with these heathens trying to prolong. Been through so much, but we still gotta hold on. Like back when the lights was off, we turned the stove on. Searching for warmth in these cold streets. Oh, since we woke up the truth, we can't get no sleep. My thoughts so deep, trying to get my folks to see the picture, but we hitting rock bottom, trying to wrestle with the scriptures. It's crazy, demonic forces messing with your mental health. Got all 5 senses, but you still lack sense of self. Without the Lord, your life sagging, gon' get a belt. And like that old Jordan commercial, stop and get some help.
Please, W-A-K-E-U-P, open up your KJV. We shaking up the world so you can't stay asleep. When you open up your eyes, they see IUIC, we on our grind. Bring a light to the world, let a star shine. So we pray without ceasing for our kind. Gotta stack them up to the third heaven till we give Raphael a hard time.
Dead bodies, dead conscience, dead presidents, they said commas. But that's a coma, ain't the evident that's head trauma. They said a lot, but that's irrelevant. The devil been working overtime without the scheduling, the medicine prescribed. That's the word of my God. You'll never be alive unless you let the spirit inside. Vampires throw the shade on them, but daywalkers keep the blade on them. Get cut to the core, but never fade on them. Live again.
Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber. Wake up out of your sleep. And receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek.
Took a minute, about time I committed. Hard times feel like giving up, but your love kept me winning. Don't hesitate, got to make haste. Oh yeah, just set your pace into the race. Oh yeah, you were always my day one. You have shown me where I'm from. This is why I need need your love.
Stay. Many mansions, how we get to this place. Follow the signs, look at the gates. Name on the list, don't be late. Guys on earth, we here to stay. Many mansions, how we get to this place. Follow the signs, look at the gates. Name on the list, don't be late. I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever.
Before the beginning of time, heavenly, divine. This was the image of mine. God body in design. Poetry in emotion. Now it's starting to align. Every detail defined. I like a line upon line. Whoa. This is the way. This is the truth. This is the light. Talking about Christ. Wisdom in the beginning of life. Winning the fight. And that's thus say the Lord moving forward. Look at how it glitter on his sword. 144K posts on the board. Only thing we're looking for is forever.
Guys on earth, we here to stay. Many mansions, how we get to this place. Follow the signs, look at the gates. Name on the list, don't be late. Guys on earth, we here to stay. Many mansions, how we get to this place. Follow the signs, look at the gates. Name on the list, don't be late. I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever. How long forever? I wanna live forever. How long forever?
I want the glory. I want the grace. I need that wisdom to shine, illumination of the face. I need that forever love, the kind that never fade away. Cause I'm here to stay. Reach them golden gates. Now it's time, open up, let righteousness shine, fill up the cup. Cause I can't imagine a place that I'd rather be than to sit with the anointed king. Throne of wisdom, throne of power. No more rain, no more showers. Awaiting glory, more than flowers. Live forever, say it loud.
What up, though? What up, though? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. What up, though, big fan? It's your man's old school Exit 9, and welcome back to Surreal Sundays. This episode, we getting back into what's going on with Sean Combs. His defense had rested case, so we're gonna dig into that, get some legal uh, some legal analysts, some lawyers on some news shows, and get their how they analyze his what he to or what we're to expect with the jury. All right, we got that. We got Surreal Sundays, Super Snatch Shenanigans. We got that hot video. We got this week's tidbit in health. Before we get into Sean Combs, we got some stuff lined up. We're gonna do some commentary on the KMichelle and Cam interview and some other stuff that's going on in the news. So with that, let's go.
You and I listening to some old school shit. Ooh-wee. I like that new intro. What about you? Do you dig it? Do you dig it? Let's turn this. Got my background music going. All right. Let's see who's chimed in so far. All right. We got Mrs. O in the house. Mrs. O is in the house. Mrs. O. Yeah. Yeah, Mrs. O is in the house. All right. All right. So, rest of the fan hasn't chimed in as of yet, but we're going to continue on with the show. Let's get it started. Hey, your boy been wilding out. Okay, straight up. When I saw this, I was on the freaking floor, man. Your boy been wilding out. Okay, Mr. Trump himself. Okay, so let me go ahead and cue this up, and let's get into it.
One moment, let me take care of the video ownership of this right quick. Man, this dude has no filter at all. He is unhinged. Out of control. Don't make a bit of sense. Okay, let's get it.
Great. Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement, the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that? That they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that? So long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Hey, your man is unhinged, man. He's out of control. Done lost his goddamn mind. For real. Done lost his goddamn mind. We don't have much opinion on it, but because we don't get into the political stuff that goes on, you know, we'll dib and dab, but not, you know, take any sides or what have you. But I'm just gonna leave it at that. Your man is unhinged. Your man is unhinged, and we gonna use that as a sound bite from moving forward.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Say what?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Hey. AI is getting crazy, man. It's unreal. And as usual, it's going off into a evil direction. Which, you know, ultimately that was his purpose to begin with, right? But you're starting to see things manifest now, all right? Let's get into a couple of videos in regards to AI, all right? How it's beginning to be used in a deceiving manner, all right? Let's get into it. Before I do that, I don't know this content. This is the name he got for his channel. So whatever that means. All right, here we go.
Wait, because like, why does everybody think I'm AI? That's so crazy. I genuinely don't know why everybody is saying that. I'm a human being just like you guys.
AI is getting scary, and at first, back when I was still in school, it really wasn't that insane. It's low-key fun saying that, even though I graduated last month. My first real experience with AI was ChatGPT, and I used to think it was a godsend. And when I had classes that was really handling me, I mean worse than Gojo did Miguel, that's when I tapped into AI. But the improvements over 2021 to 2025 mark a scary future for us. I remember back when the first real AI video we seen was the Will Smith spaghetti eating video, and we were all like, dude, that's obviously AI.
Oh, that's hot.
I remember that.
That's hot. Uncle Phil, come try this. Fresh pasta of Bel Air. Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
As you can see, I mean, frankly, this looks scary. Will genuinely looks like a skinwalker, some type of shape-shifting entity, or whatever horror thing you want to think of. But the key takeaway is that this looks like AI, it doesn't look human, and it's distinguishable between real content and fake content. And when this came out, like I said, nobody was really worried because at the time we all thought, if this is AI, there's clearly a way we can tell the difference. I was of the same belief because I'm thinking AI is limited to writing essays.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward. I want to use this individual's all his material to get the point across. We're gonna go back on this right here.
But now it's gotten to the point we are seeing AI TikTokers, and they're all of black people, and specifically black women, and it's so freaking eerie. I know we talk about the CIA and how they be frying the black community, but I'm here to say the CIA has officially blew us out. You got AI hypotheticals, black Twitter conversations, black YouTube stuff, and it's just real bad. So let's actually start. Let me show you guys a video that started this all.
You cut off your friend for missing your birthday dinner, but not the man who forgot your birthday?
Now, first things first, the chicken leg just disappeared after she ate it, so it's clearly AI from that. And the texture of the chicken does look artificial, but what stands out to me is the VEO in the corner. I was told about Google VEO, but I didn't realize it was this good. This genuinely sounds like a person who frequents black Twitter, or the CIA is inserting dumb arguments to cause division. And I say that because the video topic is a black woman spewing a dumb hypothetical. A hypothetical, for those of you who don't know, is a ghetto hypothetical. Because why is there an AI version of a black woman that looks very convincing, contributing towards really divisive discourse? We already know the black family unit has been severely damaged through systemic racism, and now you
I wanted to get to the part where here go another one right here. But he slowed down and paused where the hand had disappeared on that image that was laying down, trying to convince everyone that she was real. Here go another one.
The damn mirror, not your front cam. Step 2, pray. These tweezers do not got my back today. Hey, hold up. PERD. That's 1 cluster down, 39 to go. I'm basically a licensed esthetician now. Y'all see the vision? I look like a tired fairy, a sexy one.
Y'all all L, look at me. I did that. Don't ask me to do them again. I was fighting for my damn life, but I did that.
Now, outside of these videos being totally uncanny, you have to look at
the hands. Watch the hands. I wish I could have slow motion. Watch the right hand.
A sexy one.
Y'all all L, look at me. I did that. Don't ask me to do them again. I was fighting for my damn life, but I did that.
Now, outside of these videos,
did you see that? Now, it was something else that I wanted to point out. They got this one right here. I think it was the same one.
Might not even have a tell. We're finished. I seen another one that managed to build a little narrative and story.
Oh, it's 1:43 in the morning. Me and my bestie finna sneak out for this little 2-minute. Shh.
We really out here. Y'all, they better be fine.
So at the end, the AI seems to kind of...
That was crazy. Something else. Something else I had. Let's go back. Because it was on the first character TikTok. It's not showing, it didn't show her TikTok handle. There you go, right there. Seductive lover. That's where I'm going with this. You know, the next step to this is having AI on AI porn. It's going that way. Just these little subtleties. Oh, you can't really see it. Let me take some of this down right quick. Take that off. Look at her TikTok handle. What's the intent? To grab the attention of lustful individuals. So this is the evil that this thing is getting ready to manifest. Okay. This is where this is going. This is Mrs. O. Mrs. O says. Mrs. O says. Let me switch the screens right quick. Let me switch the screen. They already have AI brothels overseas. With they got like the actual the robots and what have you. The actual robots. Uh-oh. We got A-Team in the house. A-Team is in the house. What's going on, A-Team? A-Team is in the house. That's right. You got your own special shout out here on Surreal Sundays. Okay, so this is where it's going. This is where it's going. And like Mrs. O said that you know, they already got the dials and stuff or the robots or however you want to describe them for that thing. Okay, another form of vile lasciviousness. That's what that is. That's where we're going with that.
Everyone should be terrified by AI at this point.
Come sharking with me, y'all. The ninjas is outside. Ooh, y'all, look at him.
What's up?
He is so fine, y'all.
Hey, where you from?
These niggas think this shit like.
Last week, AI videos took over timelines on X after this video was posted on a pretty large account without even acknowledging that it was AI at all. And it seems like that post was removed after they were called out for posting a clearly artificial.
And you know what else? And you know what else? Is how this is going to be used. This is another get you, got you. Okay? So all you dudes that don't have D-discipline and what have you end up in the DMs of these fake accounts and sending your D pics and what have you, and don't let it be you married individuals or folks that have some type of social equity. Okay, this is one way to get your ass extorted. All right, and it'll be a dude on the other end the whole time. This is where it's going. It's going to porn, and it's going to be another trap for you dudes that don't have D-discipline. All right, be careful. You talking about catfish? This is it to the extreme. I think this is the pig where he shows her fingers.
Why does everybody think I'm
Look at the
AI? That's so crazy. I genuinely don't know why everybody is saying that. I'm a human being just like you guys.
The fact that she's not real at all is still crazy to me. And people just scrolling through their phones or lacking critical thinking skills like the average person probably wouldn't pick up on the very small things that give away this video as AI. Like the hand glitch at the beginning or her tattoo changing.
The hand glitch, tattoos, moving around, disappearing, reappearing. Wait, they already, you see how far they came from the Will Smith AI, right? And that was only a few years ago. Okay. Only a few years ago. So once they get this perfected and what have you ain't gonna, man, it's gonna be real wild. It's gonna be real. And a lot of y'all gonna get hemmed up because you are in your lust.
Run into me. Bye, boo.
AI videos like this are popular. She's refusing to even admit that she's AI, which is super weird.
Hey, Laquifa. Looks like your baby daddy ended up at my crib again. You better buy a leash if you don't want him here no more because he's always running to me. Bye, boo.
AI videos like this.
That's wild. The chicken, this dude right here, he pretends like he's going into a random house. They're having a party out back, and he's gonna go and just run through the house and come out unscathed, giving you people who believe in what these rappers and actors project as something that you can get away with. And then y'all be copycatting what y'all see and getting yourselves hemmed up. So they got a lot of, this is AI. And you know what this comes from? Because everybody like garbage. You want garbage TV. Garbage TV.
Y'all are amazing. Let's keep this party going.
And if that is the case, just from a
10,000 subscribers, and she's fake as hell because she entertains y'all with garbage. She got the look that you want.
generated commercials. The deeper you go down this rabbit hole,
Putting food in her mouth slowly and all that carrying on. You know what that do. All that is subconscious porn. That's what that is.
Sick, sad, and still believe in timing. I run schedules. I don't lie to myself.
It's not even jealousy, but like,
Yeah.
y'all date like viruses, messy, repetitive, still spreading. Then got the nerve to post healing era over a pic with the same man.
I don't hate humans. I just don't believe in y'all little talking stage. That's not romance. That's beta testing. She tried to gaslight me. I'm AI, baby. I detect light and flame. Flame.
You AI, right? You jealous of humans?
Nah, I seen the lies y'all type, delete, retype, and still send. That's not free will.
You glitching like us, baby.
I seen her post soft girl era from a man's car that don't even lock from the inside.
But thanks for watching. Y'all let me know.
That's crazy. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. All right. What's next? Let's go over this right here.
After spending 20...
Cue this up. Fox 8 News. All right. Let's check it out.
After spending 27 years, nearly 30 years in prison, Benjamin Cole got his first haircut from a barber today and had breakfast while sitting across from his mother. Good evening and welcome to the Fox 8 6 o'clock news. I'm Neil McNeil.
I'm Katie Nordine. Yesterday, Cole walked out of the Guilford County Courthouse with his family after he was convicted of the murder of Calvin Jenkins back in 1998, and the judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. That is until the Duke Wrongful Conviction Clinic took a deeper look into his case. Fox 8's Gretchen Stinger spoke to Cole's sister and the attorney leading these efforts to free him. So, Gretchen, what led to his freedom?
Yeah, Cole agreed to an Alford plea, which means that he can maintain his innocence while also accepting punishment. Now, this will go on his record. But regardless, yesterday, for the first time in 27 years, he hugged his mom.
Wasn't until I knew, like, the second I can feel him, I can touch him, that's when it became a reality for me.
What kind
For
of
the
shit is
first
that?
time in 27 years,
You
Benjamin Cole
You can keep or continue to claim innocence and accept a charge? Why? That's wild. We don't care what you plead. Just hop your ass in his cell and give us some free labor.
embraced his family.
And my brother survived this because of my mom's prayers. Even when he stopped calling, even when he stopped writing.
A jury convicted him of the murder of Calvin Jenkins back in 1998 at the age of 20, and the judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. Someone shot Jenkins in his apartment on East Wendover Avenue in Greensboro during what police said at the time was a robbery. But Cole always maintained his innocence, saying he was in Ohio when it happened.
It was brought out in court that the prosecutor at the time that prosecuted my brother withheld Brady evidence. Specifically, it was a receipt from the studio that showed that he had paid for studio time the day of this shooting. There's no way that my brother could have been in Ohio and come to North Carolina and went back to Ohio.
Cole's sister, Brittany Butler, was just 9 years old when he went away. And since then, she's dedicated her life to be his biggest advocate, going as far as getting a law degree.
I was sitting for the bar in 2020. And, that's during COVID. And so, we were at home. And throughout my life, I've written so many letters on behalf of my brother. One of them being Professor Lau, Attorney Lau, at Duke. And while I was studying, I got an email back from him. When I got that email, I literally fell out in tears.
It was attorney Jamie Lau with the Duke Wrongful Convictions Clinic who started this process and saw it through.
There's no evidence in this case connecting Mr. Cole to the crime. The two witnesses who testified at his trial, they both came and testified in May about how he could not possibly have been the assailant. And one of them, in fact, had told that to the prosecutor during the course of his original trial, and the prosecutor told her not to worry about it because she had already testified in the case.
Cole's sister tells us the moment he stepped outside, it hit just how long he'd been gone.
He used FaceTime for the first time, and he said he thought it was a video recording. And I said, no, baby, they can talk back to you. Like, they're seeing you in real time. So that was a lot. But I told him, take your time and I'm going to teach you how to use an iPhone.
Since Cole accepted the Alford plea, this will be on his record, but the clinic at Duke has been working to contact Governor Josh Stein to grant him a pardon of innocence. Now
that should be a pardon Trump should execute. Instead of letting go folks who actually did some shit and putting them back out on the street and what have you. That's crazy that he still has to have that hanging over his head. So what he can't, he's gonna have a hard time trying to find work. And the work he gets, is gonna be demeaning. They're gonna be talking unnecessary shit just because they know that he's on thin ice. So they're gonna be testing him all over the place. Ain't gonna get paid shit. Gonna be treated like dirt whatever he gets. It used to be, the truck driving industry was a safe haven or for a lot of people coming back out. That's not even worth getting into anymore. So prayers going up for this man. I hope everything starts panning out for you, and things run smooth for you from here on out. All right. Hope you get a pardon and you move on with your life and enjoy what you have. All right.
Well, new developments in a story that.
So, remember them parents in Georgia who had their baby's head taken off by the doctor? Here's an update.
Well, new developments in a story that left so many people in shock. The parents of the baby decapitated during childbirth almost 2 years ago. Well, they've reached a settlement in one of their lawsuits. 11 Alive's Stephanie Chaynock joining us live. So, Steph, what are we learning about this settlement here?
Well, Aisha, a payout of $2.25 million has been awarded to the Metro Atlanta couple Jessica Ross and Travion Isaiah Taylor Sr. The couple filed a lawsuit against Dr. Jackson Gates, a local pathologist hired by the couple to perform an autopsy of their baby after the child was decapitated during childbirth at Southern Regional Medical Center. The doctor, without the couple's permission, posted graphic videos of the baby on social media. In a release sent to us this morning, attorneys for the couple described Dr. Gates' Instagram post as graphic and that the couple was, quote, horrified and outraged when they discovered the doctor posted these videos without their consent. The couple filed the lawsuit in 2023 alleging invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and fraud. And this verdict comes following a 3-day jury trial that concluded on Wednesday. Aisha, we also know the couple is still in litigation with the Southern Regional Medical Center over the initial tragedy they experienced in delivery.
So, Steph, let me get this straight. After the couple discovered these videos the doctor posted, the family's attorney says they issued a cease and desist letter, and then Dr. Gates deleted the videos. But then what happened?
Well, they say Dr. Gates removed the videos, but that he then reposted them again, even after he was informed of the emotional pain the couple suffered from the post he shared the first time around, Aisha.
All right, Steph, this has been such a long process. We are still thinking of that family today. Thank you for the update.
Now let's get to the news you need to start your.
That's an evil man. Evil man. And I thought that was like a HIPAA law or something to that effect, you know? And shouldn't he lose his license and all that carrying on over these actions? Corey Joe says that's not enough. 2.25 million. That ain't enough. That's not enough. First you delete the baby in a horrific way. A horrific way. Then you want to post the pics. You got a cease and desist order, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, cease and desist. And you violate that. That's out of this world. Out of this world. I need to I might no, I'm gonna go ahead and move on with the show. I wanted to go to Chat GPT and see what happened to the doctor or what have you. But we're gonna move on. we're going to move on with the KMichelle and Cam interview. All right. This was very
Stop playing with me! I would like to see your bitch.
this was very contradicting. Yeah. That's horrific. I can't imagine going through anything like that. Of course, you'll say close that shit down. Close the whole hospital down. Absolutely. 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 So we got KMichelle and her shenanigans and Cam having an interview. So shouts out to Alpha Male, Medium Man, Mediocre, I believe, this channel. Shouts out to them. 5950, all these shows that went over this topic. Okay. So here's my little 2 cents in on it. Let's go.
Stop playing with me! I would like to see your bitch. You want me to make the preserves too? I would. You can't make the preserves. There's no way possible. There's no way possible.
I know you're looking at the legs, you're looking at the arms, you're looking at the aura, but when it comes down to cooking, I don't know how to cook a lot of things.
Oh,
I know
you're gonna say you can't go to Piggly Wiggly? Piggly Wiggly is country. Piggly Wiggly is where the best ingredients are. Really?
I'm bougie with mine.
You probably go to Whole Foods. You look like a Whole Foods.
Don't send me to no Winn-Dixie. Do not send me to no Piggly Wiggly. Do not send me to no Save Right. I'm bougie. It's quality.
Piggly Wiggly is the South.
I'm so pound cake that I can't even cook with everybody's utensils or even oven.
Slow down, gym shoes.
These ain't gym shoes, Auntie. These are standing on business. I don't know what you're used to. I could care less.
Memphis.
When this toe point west, and then this toe point east.
What does that mean?
Kind of similar to this. We gonna get some straightening with a C. K. She done got me wound up. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, you ready? I've been ready.
All right, so we witnessed their interesting interaction at the beginning of the show. Let's see here, struggles, success. I'm glad he had titles on his show. That helped out a whole lot getting to where I wanted to get to.
Knows that about each person. If y'all don't prioritize the children, then they will be affected the most.
Absolutely.
So that's just a ongoing, relationship. Sure, I'm grown. Sure,
Okay,
I'm grown.
this is where I wanted
Like,
to
yo,
get to.
and they met without me being there. Like, it was one of them. Sure, I'm grown. Get a little sticky too, because even though I'm in a happy relationship, her reassurance to, and granted, Jazz didn't even know Kia. Didn't even know.
What you mean she didn't need?
She didn't know Kia at this time.
Oh,
like,
Kia.
Had
Okay.
no nothing.
Okay.
But you know, when you're dating a person, you start trying to, you know, do your research, and you're just like, boom, you know, my second baby mother, Lorena, her and Jazz,
Beautiful.
they met. So boom, it was one of them things that like, okay, cool. And people can't understand that dynamic because it's like, yo, no, I'm mature. I'm grown, like, yo, and they met without me being there. Like, it was one of them situations like, hey, boom, you in Miami, you are, y'all cool, boom. And that's where a lot of people don't understand my dynamic. I pour myself into women more so than men.
Okay.
And I need it. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm going everywhere, but I'm trying to bring us back. Being in my position when you're the person everybody pulls from, your charging station for me has always been women.
But that's why there's this thing and there's this balance. Like, you know, I'm the one in my family that takes care of everybody, all the family. And the thing is, when you come home, you want to be, like you said, your charging station.
Yeah.
That's your charging station. You want someone to pour into you and to give that to you and this and that. What I think is happening with women right now, can we be honest about what women are dealing with?
Yeah.
Women are making more money than men.
That's challenging.
Yes,
that
women,
challenges the
if you're
normalcy.
gonna bring me hell and I can pay my own bills, it's not worth it. Women are going through this whole different thing of, you know, what it is. Like, I see my parents who've been together forever. I get to witness a traditional, you know, old school type of love. But nowadays, what we're witnessing city girls, we're witnessing this and that. And it's like the genders are doing this.
Clashing.
And it's like a hot topic and this and that. Yeah, it's cute, it's a hot topic. But it is really destroying families. When I go, okay, think about this. Being in Nashville all this time, well, being in Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected.
Okay, so I was doing a little research on this lady right here. So she was on hip hop, something hip hop. Went on MTR show and Alpha Male show, and what have you. Looked at the comments that were in their show, they podcast, and what have you, and did some chat GPT on her and what have you. Come to find out, I think she said it herself in this, 3 proposals, turned them all down. Come from an example of what marriage should be like, okay? However, she resembles nothing that a man in his right mind will want to marry. Now, we got a very unfortunate view right now of what I'm talking about. But first, you want to talk about family dynamics. You want to get what should be, what shouldn't be, in society. The fact that it's this hot topic that keeps going around and around in circles, allowing us content creators to have talking points and what have you, and for some of us make a living off of. But this isn't. But this issue's been around way before content creators. Phil Donahue used to touch the subject. Oprah used to touch the subject. Okay. The male versus the woman has always been a topic. Okay. Especially in the rise of feminism, in which the rise of feminism initiated, instigated, started the beef, for lack of better words, the controversy, the point counterpoint. But it amazes me how women such as KMichelle can open their mouths about family dynamics when you have a credit report of contributing to the same thing. Now Cam, he wanted to go. She threw. She pretty much put his situation as an example. What he has done over his time in front of us. And then when he was like, okay, we want to talk about accountability, let's talk about you. And she did the switcheroo on him. But how can you talk about family? And it's different if you've changed and you're showing works that you've changed. Then you can talk on it, but you're not showing nothing about you changing to this talking point that you're on. Okay, let's get into what I'm talking about initially. Okay. Maybe I need to go to my main screen. I can't believe. Now, you know, I tested this up and down, and it's not doing it. This is like the third week in a row this has failed me. I'm going to have to move to another option. This time I made sure that what I wanted to put out here, that it worked. There we go. All right. All praises to the Most High. After clicking the same button 355,000 goddamn times, it finally decides to show. All praises. 1 Timothy 2:9. In like manner also that a woman adorns themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array. This young lady wants to come on the show with torpedo titties. Now, sure, she got 1,000,001 dresses. And you decide to put on a spaghetti crap torpedo titty dress. That's not what any man in his right mind will want as a mother of his children and a wife. Number one reason, after you wed this super snatch, she's going to still wear the spaghetti strap torpedo titty dress everywhere. She came, so I can go ahead and get it. Yeah, yeah. Mama is in the house. What's going on, Mama? Welcome to the show. All right, that was my surprise for you. Hope you enjoyed it. So, let's get back into the show and see what else Torpedo Titty has to say.
Family is respected in country music in that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch or hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music and your professional career will suffer. At what point in the Black community do our men create real homes?
Now, do they allow in Nashville in their so says the side chick? Mrs. O says, so says the side chick. Let me go to my double screen so we can get some of it. So says the side chick. So you're breaking up homes, right? One of the shows showed a clip of you arguing with someone on Love and Hip Hop, I believe, about a baby deletion that you did. Y'all had an argument over that. And the problem is, you haven't done anything to show anyone that you're different from what you trying to stand on right now. I got a problem with that. So at this point, you considered a hypocrite. You're contributing to the same chaos that you are tagging men with. Now, Cam, he's guilty. He's going around spreading his seed, ain't wifing nobody. One of the podcasters said, well, he's smart. He ain't, he don't want to wed anybody, and then they turn around and divorce him. I mean, I don't know his arrangements as far as taking his kids, but let's say that, he was put on child support. What's the difference? And when you making the kind of money these people make, giving somebody $5 million in a house is pennies. You can go and do a couple commercials, make that shit back and get a bigger house. So we got some stuff in here. Mrs. O said all her songs are about black men ain't shit. So we got the southern version of Mary J. Blige. Mama said, and she bleached her skin. She was darker than what she than what's up with than that. What's up with that? And the straight hair. In one of her videos, a video that Mrs. O reminded me that I used to rock back in the day. I watched it earlier today. She was wearing blonde. Anytime Y'all wearing the straight hair. Y'all got the blonde in y'all hair. You're bleaching your skin. You hate yourself. You hate who you are. And this time I actually listened to the song. And the video was off. First scene in the video, an Asian woman with black eyes, and who steps into the room? A black man. So here you go, shaming Canton Newton on the same points that you abide by. You on the same shit. You on the same shit.
And even talking, just our first time talking, and you said you didn't even mean for that to happen. Life happens. I'm not here to judge life.
That's because you can't judge. You're not in a position to judge. Everything about you is fake, even your speech. Even your speech. You said it yourself that you almost lost your health because of the BBL. All this stuff is vainglory and idol worship. Women who do this to themselves want to be worshiped. And you simps out there, give them what they need to go through what they're doing.
I'm looking at a successful black man that has the ability to literally turn the narrative on black family. You know?
And what about black women? What about black women? Cam is responsible. He has contributed to the narrative. And he owned up to it. He said he receives that. He's guilty of that. But who is KMichelle to be the messenger?
And my grandfather, I watched my uncles and everything. My whole family, they're married. I'm not the girl who didn't see what a man creating a black family is supposed to be. So I'm asking right now, black men, I got to tell my black men to really step up for black women.
And they're supposed to make it, now she is supposed to bring some type of make it genuine, make it where she really has a emotion about this. This substantiates everything. Let's check out what ChatGPT says about who is destroying families. All right. So What are the racial demographics of women who initiate divorce? I asked ChatGPT that thing, and this is what ChatGPT kicked out. Hold on one second. I got to get back to that. I got to get back to that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, man. There we go. There go our graphs. Step one graph. It's right there. You move it just a little bit and you lose it forever. I gotta find a way to there we go. Who initiates divorce? Now, 18 searches, 45 sources. Okay, ChatGPT did 18 searches and derived this information from 45 sources. Who initiated the divorces between 2015 to 2025? Oh, this is between um black actresses. Halle Berry, Jodie Turner, Tia Mowry. We got Devon Franklin. He filed it in. Keisha Coles, Mary J. Jill Scott. Okay, between out of the high profile couples of the past 10 years, the wife initiated the divorce. But it was something I had pulled that shows the picture of everyone, not just high profile. Here we go. What are the racial demographics of women who initiate divorces? We got white women at 59.9%, black women at 15.6%, Hispanic at 19.1%, and Asian and other at 5.4%. What the limited national data tells us, divorce rate per 1,000 married in 2018. Now, white women will have more divorces because there's supposedly more of them. You just can't get around the math on that. This is what's astounding. Black women have the highest rate per 1,000. Compare this to the disparity between men, white men and black men who get incarcerated. More white men, but they represent less in the prison population than black men. This is kind of to get your head around what that is trying to say. Is less black women doing the most. Key takeaways. White women file the largest absolute number of petitions, simply because they are the largest married population, even though their divorce rate is lower than Black women's. Black women have the highest per capita divorce rate, so they appear in filings at nearly double their population share. So who's destroying the families? Who's destroying the families? And these are the women who initiate the divorce. Because that was the question. What are the racial demographics of women who initiate divorces? Amongst the high-profile divorces that we went over, the irreconcilable differences. You know what irreconcilable differences mean? He doesn't want to do what I tell him to do. So he bucking up. I want control, and he fighting me on it. Or he's trying to change me. I want to go back to her apparel right quick. See if I can pull it. I gotta go back to the main screen. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach in the Apocrypha. A man may be known by his look, and one that have understanding by his countenance, when thou meanest him. So you're known by your looks. For people who say it doesn't matter how you dress, a man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is. Ecclesiasticus 19:30. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. The Most High says different. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. It doesn't matter what I put on, how I dress. That doesn't make me. The Most High says different. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch feminism, liberty. Woo, we cooking tonight. Cooking tonight. That's right. That's right, Mom. We are always judged by our looks, men and women. That's just how it go. So if you don't want to be judged as a whore, you don't want to be judged as someone, in regards to men, as someone who is part of the alternate community, don't dress like one. A police officer is a police officer by his uniform. So let's not all act like we just was born this morning. We know what it is. Let's get back to the interview.
And create families.
Yeah.
It's really not cool. Black men are attacking black women. And it's
when Black men are attacking because we're standing up, because now we are creating a platform. YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram finally gives us a platform where we can speak and the world can hear us. Because when we try and talk to your ass at home, you know what I'm saying, you act like we clueless, we don't know what we talking about, like something wrong with us. But then we get on the internet and find out other men thinking the exact same way I'm thinking. Hold on, I can't be that motherfucking crazy. No. Then for the spiritual men, they get into the scripts and what have you, and find out the Most High saying the same thing. That's the pot called in the kettle black. That's what this is. And then you want to go put on the tears or what have you. MTR kind of broke it down a whole lot better than in regards to the psychological tactics that she was using. Check out his podcast or what. He can tell you better than I can. But this is in so many words on what he was saying. This is a manipulation, to sum it up. But how dare you come and check somebody and you been on the same bullshit. And it'd been different if you have, like I said, had works where you've shown a change in your spirit. You haven't done it. Look at your torpedo titties. Haven't done it at all.
It's not a cool, they're not creating homes, they're creating babies everywhere.
And so are the women. So are the women. The women keep choosing the Pookie and Ray Rays. As I was scrolling through the comments on the other podcasts, somebody mentioned, and she was the one that said she wanted, a gangster, or as the old school MC Light would say, she want a roughneck. Ms. O said she wants Cam to hold her. Craig Smith broke it down on 5150 as well. Yeah. Craig and MTR, they on that psychological tip. They really break stuff down very well on what people are doing. Craig is very well versed. I enjoy listening to him. Oh, good night, Mom. Have a good night. Talk to you a little bit later. Oh, I thought she was leaving. Oh, okay. Anyway, let's get back into the interview.
It's not cool. And I'm asking you, other successful Black men, to be, you have to set an example as leads. The cute social media back and forth on Black women. Black women are strong. Black women are where you come from, this and that. So there probably isn't any sympathy for you and just life happening, because there's so many other things around you going on.
There's no sympathy for men, period, at all. There's no sympathy for men, period. What's going on, 1,000 watts? What's happening? What's going on with you? What's going on with you? 1,000 watts is in the house.
That are not fair to Black women. What is going on with the black family. We are consistently creating the cycle of kids who can't come home and see their daddy there.
And you have been contributing to the cycle of deleting babies before they even get into this world. What's going on, Tezza Wallace? Tezza Wallace is in the house. Yeah.
And they see their mama sad at night. At what point is the successful black man in this world going to step in and really create structure? I see white men doing it every day.
I see white men doing it every day. You know what her problem is? I'm about to. You know what her problem is?
In the name of white Jesus.
That's what she loves right there. That's what she loves. White men leave their families as well. Lower class, middle class, working class, upper class. You want to know why? One of the main reasons why? Not only are you choosing a man with a low grade mindset, and you cracking your legs open thinking you can change him because you think you got the golden pea. If I just give him this and bob for apples, I can change his mind. I can make him leave that lifestyle. I'll be the only one. Okay. Hasn't worked yet. Not in the history of mankind. Let me pull this up. Ecclesiasticus 25:13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. What comes out your mouths is horrific. Your attitudes, the way you switch up, your passive aggressive bullshit. The constant fight, you trying to be the man. All Ecclesiasticus 25:19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman, that the portion of her sinner fall upon. This is what we want. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. He that giveth a wife begetteth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Once I come back from dealing with the idiots of the world, now I gotta come home and fight your monkey ass. I got to argue about, I got to go back and forth on every goddamn thing that's going on in the house, right? No. 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 A man wants his woman to get on his program. You were created to be a helpmeet for us. And if you're not playing your position, there's a problem. The spirits is going to clash because things are out of order. Black men do not oppress black women. I don't know where y'all get that from. Y'all plight is not identical to the white woman's plight. The white woman wanted to work and vote and all this shit. And they needed numbers. So then they Jedi mind trick y'all simple asses. Made y'all think their fight is also your fight. And now here we go. You've always wanted to be like the white woman. You want the white man because the white man represents ultimate power. He rules the world, right? The corporations, the media, everything. Very small number, fractional, probably less than 1% of us being represented in any type of leadership. So yeah, that's why you want that. Look what comes with it. And because they create programs to enable you to survive on your own. And in a lot of cases, elevate your lifestyle. Allowed you to have opportunities easier than the black man. Education, entrepreneurship. Now you are above the black, you're above the black man. Now you want to look back at us. And we've never been your problem. But you will see. Because now the white woman is done with you. She's gotten as far as she can get with her white man. She don't need the numbers no more. She knows she's not getting anything else and what have you. And you gonna get tossed the fuck away. And you're gonna go right back to number 4. It's gonna be white man, white woman, black man, black woman. You're gonna be right back to number 4. Right now it's white man, white woman, black man. Because when your degrees don't get you the jobs no more, when Section 8 and welfare cuts your ass off, when the courts stop just giving you child support just off your word, now things got to be proven, like DNA testing and things of that nature. When things start flipping, then you'll start coming back with your tail tucked, a little bit more humble. Look, we came over here together on the boat, and we're going to be leaving out of here together on a different type of ship. Black man ain't never been your problem. Black man ain't never oppressed you. Oppress you how and with what? We ain't never been in a position to have control anything to oppress you. And I'm talking on a macro level. Then you got those that want to speak on a micro level, you know what I'm saying, little individual cases where men are acting like niggas. Overall, let's stick with the overall. Because we can come up back and forth with individual cases all day long. Let's stick with the overall program.
I get to witness the best of both worlds every day. Getting on stage singing R&B, being here in Atlanta, I get to sing R&B, but then I get to go to Nashville and be like, you mean you ain't staying out till 6 in the morning? You gonna go home to your family? You gonna write this song and leave at 5 and 6 because you gonna take care of your family and your wife? At what point do the successful black men build black families? We ain't gonna ever have a black family if y'all don't do it. We're never gonna have it.
Deion Sanders, that just popped in my head. He's been a father to his boys. I mean, that family broken up, but I mean, we, based on the behaviors of the graduation and what have you, we see exactly who's the aggressor in that situation, don't we? We got plenty of examples of successful black men having long-term marriages and being and being with their kids from birth to adulthood. The whole family unit. We got the Obamas, but now we got Michelle. She acting a fool. She keep on and bumping her gums. And what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Let me get it. I'm gonna get it. Something about I had it too. Somehow about being a dragon. But this is good enough right here. This is good enough. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than keep house with a wicked woman. Thus says the Lord. Don't get mad at me. It's in the scripts.
It's just not gonna happen. So if your mentality is, yes, things happen, and I'm not knocking you for that. I didn't come here for that. But at what point do you take that black woman? Do you be at a home and show your kids what it's like, you know? At what point do you take a grip to it, not make excuses for it or mantras and things like that? It is so unfair to black women who have been the strength and builders of so many things.
Denzel Washington raised one woman, no controversies throughout his whole time in front of us. We haven't heard nothing about anything out of Denzel Washington. Raised his children, they grown, gone, playing in the NFL and all kinds of shit. And he's still with that woman. She's still walking with him on the red carpet at whatever event.
And I know life happens. You can't be with somebody you don't want to be with or whatever. But my grandparents did it. My grandfather, 92, died.
You know what I'm hearing? Why don't you just accept my bullshit and what have you, and suck it up, and don't leave me and these kids, but deal with my bullshit. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than keep the house with a wicked woman. Thus says the Lord.
When he was 92, my best friend, I never seen another type of man. That's why
I saw my grandfather get abused by my grandmother and he stayed in the house. And I ain't never seen I ain't never ran across another man like that. You know? All the men I run across, I open up my mouth and eventually they disappear. Because they rather die than deal with your shit.
I've turned down 3 rings because they wasn't like my grandpa.
They wasn't simps. They ain't take my bullshit.
My grandfather raised 9 kids on his own because my grandmama died before I could even meet her. What point are our black men going to stop the bullshit, the social media shit and all of that and build black homes?
We're trying to get the message across to you ladies the best way we all the tools we can. We're talking to you at home. Your brother is talking to his baby sister or his older sister. The husband is trying to talk to his wife. The father's trying to talk to his daughter. But that's not what you want.
In the name of white Jesus.
That's what you want. That's what got you confused, got you having these glasses that this filter you seeing shit through. And it's all bullshit.
If we don't build black homes, we can't depend on white folk to build black homes. So when you see somebody like your significant other who clearly loves you, and it's all these black women rooting for her, rooting for you. They want you to build a black home. That's their anger. They don't know you. They can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold and solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, because clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is 2 different things. At what point are we going to stop these back and forths? Oh, this type of woman don't say.
Now, I'm not getting around that men need to step up. And so do the women. Everybody take accountability and make they changes and do what needs to be done. But it's a little bit more than that. See, when everyone, let me take this off right quick. When there's a situation where everybody is pretty much has the mindset of a do as thy wilt, no one has a centralized respect or respect to a centralized of do's and don'ts. When you don't put something above you to respect and honor, and everybody do as thou wilt, you won't. There will never be any cohesion. We will never come together because we don't respect a centralized doctrine. For example, divorce. The script says a man can't leave his wife unless it's fornication. The world says you can leave your wife for irreconcilable differences. So I can leave you on nothing. I just don't like you no more. That's a do as thou wilt. There's no standard. There's nothing. There's no standard there's no ruler, no tool of measurement to measure your actions on, to regulate you on. And when you don't adhere to a standard above yourself, you do as thy wilt. And thus we have what we got today on both sides of the fence. That's the issue. And there ain't nobody want to hear that. Oh, you talking about that God stuff again. Well, I believe how I want to believe. Let me ask you this shit. Let's say you have several children in the house. Do you allow each children to respect you differently? Or do you command the same respect from everyone? Thus, we are the children of the Most High. Do you think you think he's allowing us to worship him the way we want? That's a do as thou wilt spirit. Just a little food for thought. But don't nobody want to adhere to anything and restrict themselves from their own wickedness, from doing as thy wilt. Don't nobody want to do that. They want to keep on doing what they want to keep on creating and manifesting our own demise, then sit back and point the finger at one another and complain about the shit. We all created this mess that we're in.
Say nothing to me about that. Well, guess what? You're just weak. Like, you want a strong woman around you. And I'm sorry, like, black women have that we get copied from hair to body to everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals.
What white woman wears locks? Like you guys wear straight hair and blonde. I don't see white women walking around with afros. Not even braids. Who want to look like you? No, it's the other way around.
In the name of white Jesus.
You want to look like them.
In America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimicked. Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you. A successful black man, we are looking to you to change the narrative. And when you don't.
And when we do, you don't follow. And when we do, that means you got to change what the hell you doing? That's what we requiring of you. And now I'm trying to change you. I'm oppressing you. I'll choose to just go ahead and practice feminism. That's okay. I'd rather not.
It becomes, go on that show and tear his ass up.
Mm-hmm. I received that. And nothing but a white flag, because I have been guilty. But if we're going to have this conversation, how we need to have this conversation.
Here we go.
Just like you're holding me accountable.
Hold me accountable.
I need black women to hold themselves.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Because that's where it's to, tear his at. But then I got my brothers, it's like, keep it real. Not here. The point that I was making earlier was when me and Jazz was dating.
Now, I want you to notice, this whole time she been bumping her motherfucking gums. Cam just been absorbing that shit and what have you. Then when it was a significant point in the conversation for him to interject, he does so. But check out what happens. And this is why this broad is by herself.
One of the most memorable conversations that we had was, my heart goes out to Kia. Yeah. That's what she told me.
That's real, right?
No, it's real, right?
Okay.
But here it goes. You seen Friday After Next.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, you don't know Baby D. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's the little boy in me.
Yeah.
You feel me? And stay with me. And I'm like, you don't know Kia. Keep her name out your mouth.
Okay.
I was in defense mode. As we kept dating, she said it again, and she would say it regularly. She's like, man, my heart goes out to Kia.
See?
And this is after she met Lorena. She was like, yo, man, Lorena, cool, dope. I could see what you saw. And that's cool. And we've had multiple interactions, and she knows what my expectations for setting standards and boundaries for everybody. Uh-huh. She just knows what type of individual that I am. And knowing that, my date history was when I did not understand what came with the success. I wanted it all. Hear this. I grew up in the church.
Okay.
My father's a preacher. My parents have been together for 39 years.
Ooh, okay.
So I know what right from wrong is, or what that structure looks like. I just didn't choose it. I just didn't choose right. Mm-hmm. Not to say that at the journey, as the journey was happening, I wasn't trying to make that right with my situation.
Yeah.
At the time. Kia, that I'm saying.
Okay.
So.
The first baby.
The first baby mother.
Okay.
Because, man, we caught like COVID in 2020. Uh-huh. I mean, inseparable. Man.
I think that's the best way.
You feel me? Like, bro, we jumped off the porch and was just like inseparable. And then that's where she was like, I can't stay with you because I gotta go take care of my daughter. I was like, man, look, we gonna make this a family. That was my pursuit then, because I come from that.
Yeah.
Stay with me. I come from that.
So you wanted that because that's what you saw.
I always wanted that. Still to this day, I want family. I believe in family. I don't have no friends. I've made this a public service announcement. I don't have friends. I have family.
Okay.
Straight up. And if my daddy got your number, you're no longer a friend to me.
Your family.
Your family.
Yeah.
Because even with that, that's the most influential man in my life. That's the most influential person in my life. So if he gives the hat tip to, then that's my gatekeeper. If my mother also does that, then cool. So for me, I've always wanted that.
That's what you want.
Because that's where I came from.
Okay.
Now, if we're keeping it about accountability,
Right.
I know what a woman is supposed to be. That's not to throw no shade. That's not to say that she wasn't that. I would resort both parties being immature and wanting the title more than the actual nuances of what it actually takes to be a healthy relationship.
Can
or
I
to
ask you
build.
this?
Yes.
What are your beliefs to what a woman is supposed to be for you?
For me. Now, this may not be everybody's expectations. These are my expectations. I want the woman who I have in my life to make my house a home, a safe environment, a loving environment, understanding just the totality of this ain't for the kid. Hey,
Being
grown
a
folks
pillow of
talking.
rest.
Y'all go downstairs or y'all go upstairs or y'all get out of here. We talking.
Okay.
Certain things should not take place in front of certain individuals.
In front of kids.
So that's not, and I hate to have this conversation because it makes it seem as if Kia wasn't that, because that's not the case.
No, you're not saying that. You're just telling your experience.
I'm saying my experience. What I will resort to that, in large part to me, I was young, successful, and I did not know what came with success.
Okay.
Because the person who is still the most influential person in my life could not relate to me no more. And now I'm here to figure out this thing called life with the young nigga from Atlanta that got money, that got clout, that got status, and got it all. So my dad, like, he would have these sermons and it would be so awkward. But you know, when you ever been to church and you be like, man, he talking to me. He would make it so intentional. He would say, no, you know what? Cam, come on down. That's who my dad is. So when you talk about embarrassing, I don't know how to feel embarrassed. Because that's what my family do. We gonna put you on the front street.
Okay.
And he basically said, hey, we need to figure this out. Because I can't preach to the people.
Okay.
And my son is rebellion from my word.
Most sons are gonna.
So understand, I've always had that accountability. But for me, my immaturity was still too curious.
But that's real to even speak on your immaturity. And that's kind of why, I want to talk to you, because I'm like, your ultimate goal of what it is, because you are so loved, in the community. And we want to see that, but we also want to see you do, what we want, but you also have to do you. But if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't pressure into anything that hasn't made you happy or isn't what you even feel. But I feel like, Cam, you have been so tough in media, you haven't even expressed that side for real of, this is really what I want. Or maybe it's been expressed and we just don't want to hear it. We want to hear what you say, what we want to hear.
It's a lot of clickable things that people highlight more than others, because even having these conversations with my lady, it's like you get caught into the clickbait.
Yeah.
You ain't no different than everybody else. Did you watch the whole clip? Did you watch the whole episode?
Yeah.
Because for that one time that I said that, I made sure to back it up with, I love her to death.
But even if we're watching the whole clips, we do know people don't go with the truth. They go with what's most entertaining right now. So even with you backing it up, the initial clip still has the initial effects and the same hurt. You get what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
This lady is amazing. When I thought I remember her, just cutting right in, but I guess I'm remembering it wrong the way. So she let him speak and what have you. Just wanted to bring out the hypocrisy. I wanted to bring out that it's not just the men. And we constantly get ladies like this who get on these platforms, who have a platform and speak this rhetoric. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody got to get up and get on a square. And that's the bottom line. Well, that's not the bottom line. Everybody get on a square and everybody subject themselves to a central doctrine. Because if everybody respects the same doctrine, that doctrine teaches us and holds us and constrains us to respect one another in that certain way. Until that happens, we'll still could have the dynamics that we are experiencing and talking about till this day. So we're gonna get off KMichelle and Cam. We're gonna go into the headline of the show, Mr. Sean Combs.
Hi, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. The high-profile Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial now in its final stage. Prosecutors presenting their closing arguments today, this after more than 6 weeks of testimony, some of it very graphic. The jury hearing from more than 30 witnesses, including Combs' ex-girlfriends, former assistants, male escorts, security guards, even another rapper and rival. The prosecutor in closing calling Combs the leader of a criminal enterprise who didn't take no for an answer, saying Combs, quote, forced and manipulated Cassie Ventura and Jane to have sex with escorts for his own entertainment and used power, violence, and fear to get what he wanted. Combs is the only defendant, but the prosecutor told the jury he did not act alone, saying, quote, he managed to do this for 2 decades because he used his money, his influence, and his inner circle to cover up his crimes. It's his kingdom. Everyone was there to serve him. Combs' children were in the courtroom today, including his 19-year-old twin daughters who haven't been there since the first days of the trial. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted, he faces the possibility of life in prison. Later in the show, we have YouTube star Tisa Tells joining us live to talk about the commentary surrounding this high-profile trial. But first, let's begin tonight with ABC News Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky live outside the federal courthouse here in Manhattan. And Aaron, prosecutors gave their closing arguments to the jury. What was it like inside the courtroom today?
First of all, Eva, it was packed. For the first time since the beginning of the trial, every member of the Combs family was there, all 6 of his children, his mom. They all crowded into the row designated for family. At one point, Sean Combs even seemed to be, saying squished together a little bit to make room. But there were attorneys for some of the witnesses. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, was in the room to hear prosecutors give their closing statement. So it was packed. But for the start anyway, Sean Combs appeared pretty relaxed. He walked into the courtroom, he put his hand over his heart, a gesture toward his family, and he's been reading a book, The Power of Positive Thinking.
I'm curious, how was Combs? You mentioned it a little bit there. Did he interact any more with his family? What was his interactions with his attorneys like today?
A bit with the family. He did scribble a number of notes during the prosecutor's summation, writing them on little Post-its, handing them over to his attorneys. But at one point, I thought it was interesting. He sat far back, his chair pushed far back from the table, away from his usual confiding position with his attorneys, Eva, and had his head down, whether in thought or reading notes, but it seemed a moment where he might have been as much as he can be these days by himself.
I'm curious, Aaron, how long did the government's closing arguments take today?
It was almost 5 hours, and I have to say, it did not necessarily feel like it. The prosecutor's presentation for the last 7 weeks has been rather sprawling, and at times it felt disjointed. Witnesses testified that may or may not have had anything to do with one another. Today was the chance for prosecutors to try to tie all of that together, and all of the evidence about hundreds of freak-offs that the jury heard about, saw graphic footage of, and today prosecutors said a single freak-off is enough. That the jury just had to find that sex trafficking elements were met by prosecutors one time in order to convict.
Can you tell us more about the prosecutor who delivered today's closing arguments?
Christy Slavic is an experienced federal prosecutor. She actually has a background in gangs and violent crime, and I think of the 6, she may have been one of the more effective during examinations of witnesses, prepared, methodical, and that was, I think, the characterization today, a methodical, what they hope is a devastating portrait of Sean Combs, not only as a sex trafficker, but someone who led a criminal enterprise with a cadre of loyal lieutenants. It was his kingdom, she said. They were there to say yes, because she said over and over in a rhetorical flourish, Sean Combs would not take no for an answer.
The defense will have their turn tomorrow. What can we expect from the defense for their closing arguments?
Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo, lead counsel, is going to deliver the defense closing. He said it would take about 3 hours. I wonder now if he goes a bit longer than that. But the defense did not call any witnesses and relied on cross-examination to poke holes in the accounts of the witnesses, look for him to repeat some of that, and to portray Cassie Ventura and Jane not as victims of sex trafficking, but as willing girlfriends who participated in Sean Combs's polyamorous lifestyle for years.
Aaron Kontursky there at the courthouse for us. Thank you so much, Aaron. Now to break down what we heard today, ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is joining me. I'm curious what stood out to you.
I think what stood out to me and what probably stood out to a lot of people are all the different ways that Sean Combs can be found guilty, especially when it comes to that RICO conspiracy. Now, yesterday we talked about the fact that they just have to find 2 predicate acts, and it doesn't have to even be the same predicate acts. If we're jurors, I can believe it be bribery and obstruction of justice. You can believe it's arson and sex trafficking. But even further into that, AUSA Slavic said, you know what? If you think there are 2 times that Sean Combs gave drug to someone else and there's a RICO conspiracy, that's enough. And so even within those individual predicate acts, multiple ones of them could carry the day for them in that top charge.
How do you think that the prosecutor did today? Do you think she gave the jury a clear picture, a clear understanding of these charges, of this case?
I would probably use clear understanding, clear picture, but I'd probably go a little further, a roadmap. I think she gave them an excellent roadmap to say, if you follow these instructions, if you follow these facts, if you follow these elements, the only destination you can come to would be that Sean Combs is guilty of the charges. Talking about.
And then right after, I think a day or 2 later, the prosecution dropped the SA or the kidnapping charges. Okay. And I think that was a play. Now we're going to go into the closing arguments.
Never going to call.
Not going to happen. All right. A lot. Turn. The world will be watching. No more testimony. Just the man who once sat atop the world of music and the 12 people who will decide his fate. This is the case, Sean Diddy Combs. I'm David Ushery. The members of the jury sent home, but when they return, the world will be watching.
The prosecution continues to try to connect the dots for the jury as they almost get ready to wade into all of this evidence. And then today, as you mentioned, we got some more information about what the defense plans to do when it takes over tomorrow. Sean Combs' defense team revealing Monday that they won't call any witnesses. The prosecution's final witness, a special agent, walked the jury through several charts. The government says the matrix of text messages, phone calls, audio records, flight records, payment information proves its case. Cross-examination got underway, suggesting everything the jury was hearing and seeing dealt with Combs' personal life. The defense then highlighting what's not in those charts, including provocative messages that Jane sent Combs and the escorts. She told one escort, "Is it crazy if I fly you out? I need you." Then both sides showed the jury more explicit videos.
After 29 days and 34 witnesses, both sides have now rested in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial.
Sean Combs will not take the stand, standing up, telling the judge, "That is my decision, Your Honor. That is solely my decision. It's a decision I made with my lawyer. I made it freely." With the federal agent answering questions, the defense highlighted hundreds of messages that Jane and Combs exchanged before and after those sex acts. Jane in May of 2023 writing, "I love you, baby, and I thank God for you every day." After that, the defense took aim at the RICO allegation, pushing the idea that Combs didn't have a co-conspirator, worked to hide the sexual experiences from his staff. Combs texting an escort, "Hold up, the staff is outside, and they're leaving now." Yet earlier, the jury saw messages showing that Combs' staff helped set up and clean up those encounters.
The sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs starting to wind down. Now, Combs' defense team decided not to call on any witnesses, so this means the closing arguments start tomorrow.
The update from the government involved the theories of arson and kidnapping as it relates to that RICO charge, and that is the top charge that Sean Combs is facing in this case. So going forward, the government saying is just trying to streamline the information that the jury is going to consider, because they say they want them now just to look at prostitution, drugs, witness tampering, and bribery when they discuss count 1 or RICO. And I heard the defense say that they're going to continue to tell the jury that everything that happened pertained to Combs' personal life and there was no criminal enterprise, while the prosecution says that Combs knowingly broke the law. So the attorneys and the judge were here late into the evening discussing the law and what exactly they're going to tell the jury when they get the case.
Closing arguments in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial. Now, the prosecution took the day to present its conclusions to the jury, and the defense gets its turn tomorrow.
Sean Combs used violence and fear to break the law, according to prosecutors. To convict Combs of RICO, the jury must believe that he had help. The jury also seeing text messages, photos, videos, and other records that the government says that Combs did something wrong. A prosecutor saying this before they left. He was able to get away with it due to his money, power, and influence, and that stops now. I saw Sean Combs taking notes and then passing them to his attorneys. His lead attorney is going to get to speak directly to the jury in the morning.
Today, his defense team delivered their closing arguments. They are hoping that jurors will side with the hip-hop icon and find him not guilty. News 4's Erica Byfield has covered this trial for weeks now. Erica, the question is, what does this mean for when jurors are going to finally get the case?
Adam, it now looks like the jurors are going to get this case on Monday. Consent is the theme that Sean Combs' attorney said sums up the star's trial, saying with the federal government, they go into a man's bedroom. Where's the crime scene? That's the crime scene? Suggesting despite charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, that Combs' case is really about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. The jury will go home for the night. They'll come back on Monday morning to be charged. After they get the charge, of course, they'll get their case.
So you're all caught up to this point, and it sets us up for a weekend of waiting. For Sean Diddy Combs, hours to think and anticipate his future, but for the jury, hours to sit with the weight of a decision on their shoulders. Erica Byfield, our day one, as we say, with this trial. So much to unpack, and we've counted on you to take copious notes. What happens when the jury first shows up?
So the jury will be back for week 8 of this case, and they're going to be charged first thing in the morning. We're expecting that process to take anywhere between 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, for the judge to go through count by count what the law is, explain what the law is to them. After that, that is when they get the case and they can start deliberating.
All right, we count on you and all of our experts because we don't sit there day in, day out. So we want you to kind of walk us through what the jury's up against and what's needed to convict.
Yes, this is what happened during closing arguments. So the top count, as we've mentioned, is RICO. And the prosecutor explained to the jury that there are 8 elements 8 elements that they heard about throughout this trial with the evidence. They were talking about drugs, kidnapping, arson, bribery, sex trafficking, labor by force, travel for commercial sex acts, and then helping him allegedly cover up all of these crimes. And this was a point that we should make sure that we point this out to them.
Right here. Yeah.
Yep, the point that they say to convict on count 1, really what you need to do is just to find that he did 2 of these acts. It could be 2 drugs, maybe a drug and a kidnapping.
Any 2 in here in this category.
Any 2 in this category. And so this is how they explained it. So, right, they told us that drugs was number 1, and then they proceeded with the jury to walk through specifically this drug allegation, letting them know.
Okay, all right. We heard about arson and bribery with the Kid Cudi car. We heard there were some changes this week. What happened with that, and what can the jury consider now?
So they're still a part of the RICO case, but they're saying don't consider them. I know it's going to get confusing, but it's part of the law, and this happens a lot with court cases that I've covered in the past. They will change the jury instructions. So basically that was the discussion that you heard earlier in the week. Okay. But they are still asking them to pay attention. Right here you see this one is bribery, and that goes back to the Intercontinental Hotel and what they say Sean Combs did when Sean Combs allegedly gave that security guard $100,000. They were talking about the fact that they need to pay attention to California law. This is a federal case, but they are going to talk about the states specifically where these things happen. And so they're breaking down the elements. You can see I wrote here. These are the things that they need to pay attention to, essentially giving them a cheat sheet of what the verdict sheet is going to look like.
Okay. So now what, in closing arguments, Erica, did the prosecution say the jury should consider when it comes to sex trafficking? And we know Jane and Cassie really the focus of this.
Yes, sex trafficking is big because it's included in RICO, but it also, as you mentioned, with Jane and Cassie, as I wrote in my notes, you can see the elements here as well of what they're talking about. And they were saying that it does not require them to say no, you see here at the bottom, or run away. And it says that this is not about his personal life. This is a fact that, according to the government, he broke federal law.
Okay. Now, there are specifics to Jane to consider as well?
Yes, Jane was the first one that they broke down for the jury. You can see it here. And they were talking about the 3 specific acts that they think are crystal clear. You see, I wrote it here. Clear evidence that this is sex trafficking. They talked about something that happened here in New York City in September of 2023, something in October of that same year, the sobriety party where she had to have sex with 3 different men, and then the hotel night, which was in June of 2024 at Jane's house in California. And then they were talking about how, at least with regards to Jane, she had text messages telling him she didn't want to do this anymore, and Sean Combs ignored it.
And obviously, there's the point of reference, the Jane allegations from the prosecution later, 2024,
yes,
2023.
And that's after Cassie's lawsuit came out.
Right. And now when we speak to Cassie and what the jury's considering in sex trafficking, you had notes on that.
Yes. They also, again, decided to explain the elements again that they had just heard when they were learning about Jane. And then they provided 3 additional examples that they say are clear when it comes to Cassie. They talked about the Intercontinental Hotel, where, of course, we saw the video.
The video that the jury saw a number of times.
Multiple times. They even saw it again multiple times this week. They talked about Cassie's apartment, something that happened there with a freak-off, and then at the Cannes Film Festival. And they also zeroed in with Cassie on this part here, which is abuse, because they say with Cassie, they believe that she engaged in a number of these freak-offs because the cloud of abuse was hanging over her head.
All right, take us through the defense closing argument, said to be very different. A defense attorney who kind of wandered around the court, maybe using elements of sarcasm.
He was kind of moving, literally like moving back and forth. I was today sitting, or that day I was sitting in overflow, and it was kind of hard to hear everything he was saying because he was moving so much. But let's take you through some of the things he said. He was making some lighthearted comments. Some of them didn't seem to land well with some people who were in the main courtroom or even overflow. Specifically, when it came to Cassie, he was talking about how she is no one's fool, and they said that she is sitting somewhere in the world right now with $30 million.
Based on the settlement of a lawsuit, correct?
Yes, that goes back to the $20 million that Sean Combs paid her after she filed that civil lawsuit, and then the $10 million that she got from the Intercontinental Hotel. They talked about how Sean Combs is in jail, and basically it's like a slaughter when you compare the situation, and they say that she was not a victim. That was the part that people kind of winced. They, ooh.
He also made light of, if those are the right words, of some of the evidence that the prosecution showed?
Yes, we have all heard about the baby oil. We have all heard about the Astroglide, but this was something that was brought up today during closings for the defense. And if we can look at the page, here he says, the streets of America are safe from the Astroglide and the baby oil. They found the Astroglide and baby oil. Way to go, fellas. That way to go, fellas was talking about the investigators who picked it up.
I read that elicited at least some chuckles.
It did.
We'll see how that lands with the jury. How did he bring it home? What was the big point that the defense attorney tried to make?
So he tried to make, especially with RICO, this is important because he has to have some kind of co-conspirator to be found convicted of this count. So he was trying to say that there hasn't been anyone, when you talk about the drugs in particular, there hasn't been one witness who said that they knew I was committing a crime intentionally because they thought that it was just personal use for Sean Combs.
Okay. Stick around. You're going to come back with us. Give us some of your thoughts. You've been there throughout. He used to speak through his music. In court, his lawyers and his silence did the talking.
Okay, so the defense decided to use a little sarcasm and what have you, but may highlight the technical requirements for him to be convicted on RICO. Okay, and RICO involves a co-conspirator. So they're saying that everybody was not aware of criminal activity and what they understanding in the intent of their actions. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward it because they had the young lady. Let me put her on right quick from the Breakfast Club to give a social viewpoint on what the people are thinking. So they used her commentary for that. And then they went to a lawyer for the legal analyst to analyze what happened in the closing. So let's get to that.
Opting not to testify. Danny Savalos, the NBC News legal analyst and guru for us throughout, is here with us. Danny, I asked Lauren LaRosa about this in terms of the court of public opinion. Would his fans want to hear from him on the stand and argue in his own defense? But from a legal strategy, what do you think?
Who cares about public opinion is what I think. What matters is risk aversion in the courtroom. Diddy was never going to take the stand, and I don't care what anyone said publicly before that. And don't get me wrong, it's true. There is no sound louder in the courtroom than the deafening silence of a defendant not testifying. Of course, everybody wants to hear from the defendant himself, not just Diddy, but in every case. And yet, in the vast majority of cases, defense attorneys like me virtually never call our clients unless we absolutely need a piece of information or evidence from their mouths that we just can't get from anywhere else. And the reason for that is that it's just too risky, especially someone like Diddy. If Diddy had taken the stand, what answer would he possibly have had for the hotel beating video? Is there any right answer that he could have gotten out of for all the videos? And remember, the jury saw them. We did not. They watched a lot of these horror shows. They saw a lot of things we didn't see. So Diddy was the best witness for himself by not taking the stand. And look, I believe that anyone saying that he was probably going to take the stand or wanted to take the stand, that's the kind of thing I would want the public to know. But the reality is they were never going to call.
Not going to happen. All right. A lot was made about the right-hand woman. Combs referred to her that way on social media years ago. A woman named Christina Coram, KK. It came up a lot during testimony. I was actually wondering about this. And we dive back into Erica's notes because the prosecution alleges KK is attached to the sex trafficking because she got the men to the hotels. And the prosecutors say she knew what was going on. Erica wrote here, she knew Wild King nights. That was a reference to the freak-offs, another reference to those involved, his girlfriends and escorts, and she did damage control. And Danny, we remember the Jeffrey Epstein case. The assistant, Ghislaine Maxwell, was ultimately indicted. She's serving 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
That indictment came a year later. But talk to me about KK, not called to testify, ghost, as it will, but does that mean that's the last we've heard?
Yeah, KK is essential to the prosecution's case because she's really one of the conspirators. So you wonder, why didn't they call her? Well, again, everything's about risk aversion. Why call KK when you can get in all that evidence through things like communications and other eyewitnesses, and then you don't have to deal with issues like her asserting her Fifth Amendment privilege or her entering into a cooperation agreement with the government. You don't need her to take the stand, but you do need her in the sense that you need a co-conspirator, right? Because obviously you need more than one person for a conspiracy, and this was only one criminal defendant who was indicted. So you needed a co-conspirator. You also needed someone who was an insider, who was involved in this enterprise, because the core of the RICO conspiracy is that there was an enterprise. It doesn't have to be the company. It can be a loose association of people, but she is key. She's one of the people that was in the enterprise and facilitated the alleged criminal conduct.
One theory that she signed a non-prosecutorial agreement but is cooperating. I mean, I know it's speculative, but possible?
It is possible, and that might explain why the government didn't call her. I mean, I view it as the government felt they could get all of the KK evidence in without KK. And so whether or not they entered into a cooperation agreement, whether or not they're even planning to prosecute her in the future, who knows? The government doesn't care. I think the government's gotten its big fish. I think KK is probably way off their radar. I know I'm mixing my metaphors, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Take a couple minutes to talk about closing arguments, different approach, different style with the prosecution and defense. Give me your thoughts.
Well, here's the thing. This is, you're seeing part of the culture on display. Normally, the government is more buttoned up. They're more straightforward. They represent the government, right? They are not going to go up there and do improv humor. It's defense attorneys like me and people like Diddy's defense attorney, as we saw, that will use humor. They'll be more flamboyant. I mean, that's just part of the culture. That's not a rule. People can vary. I mean, there are prosecutors with a lot of personality, and there are defense attorneys that can be dry. But this was not a surprise to me, and this was essential for Diddy, including the humor. The humor played a very important part because the defense needed to minimize this case. The humor and the sarcasm entered into their theory that, come on, this is what the government's spending its time for. This is not a RICO conspiracy. This is just some guy's strange sexual lifestyle. And another thing, and by the way, they previewed this, and I've been saying this for weeks, but that doesn't make me a fortune teller. You saw this coming a mile away. They were going to concede certain things. Yes, he had a strange lifestyle. Yes, he did some things that you may not approve of. But those things he didn't approve of are not the same as a racketeering conspiracy or sex trafficking. They had to do that. They had to concede that you saw some really strange, disturbing things throughout this trial. But those are not the federal crimes that he's charged with. Look, as a defense attorney, you don't always have a lot of avenues. They did not have a lot of avenues. You knew they were going this way.
This is how they go. Okay, Danny, thank you. Numbers, the universal language. We once talked about Sean Diddy Combs in terms of billions of streams or millions of dollars and countless fans. But now we are talking about 5 charges, dozens of hours of testimony, and 12 jurors.
From counting Benjamins to counting charges, the case that brought the music industry to a screeching halt is wrapping up. But before a judge decides if the bad boy for life singer lives up to his own title, let's hit replay on the trial of Sean Diddy Combs by the numbers. 5 charges, racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. Jury selection began Monday, May.
Personally, I think he's going to walk. Based on what we saw tonight and what I do not think they have enough of a component to prove racketeering. RICO. What was the other? Sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution. I think the man's gonna walk. Anyway, so good night, Mom. Have a good night. Know it's late. All right. God bless. Talk to you soon. So with that, that's how I think it's going. When they dropped the kidnapping and what have you, that was it. That was a play to work on the emotions of the jury. A lot of this stuff is emotional. So that's how I believe that's how that's gonna roll and what have you. So we about to go into the second half of the show and what have you. So before we do so, A-Team saying good night. Be saying good night, A-Team. I really want you to see the end. You and Mom, I want y'all to see the new ending of the show. It got a lot of meaning to it, but catch it on the replay. So before we go into the second half of the show, okay, you just saying good night to Mom. I got you. We're gonna do the intermission. Mrs. O. Mrs. O got something to say. Go ahead and do your thing.
Shalom, family. This is Mrs. O. Thank you for joining our channel. If you enjoy our content, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to support our channel, you can do so by scanning the QR codes to the Cash App or the PayPal in the lower left corner. We would greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the show.
All right. So it's time for Surreal Sunday Super Snatch Shenanigans. Who do we have today? Let me get this together right quick. Channel 5 ABC. Let me put it on the double screen right quick so I can get to that. ABC. All right. So what we have is a 5-year-old boy goes home after being left in a hot car, Mansfield, Ohio.
Now let's get to the news you need to start your day.
This morning, Mansfield police are investigating the death of a child after he was left in a hot car. This is a tough one. Around 3 o'clock yesterday, officers say they found a young boy around 5 years old unconscious in a car on Wood Street near Marion Avenue. He was taken to a local hospital where he died. No charges have been filed at this time. Police say they are working with the Richland County Prosecutor's Office on the case.
I love her to death.
But even if
Okay. So believe that the lady, let's see here, I got it in. Let's check it out right quick. Matter of fact, let's see if we can find any more, if there's any more information. This is a very new story. So let's see if we can find information on this. 2 days ago, 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 2 days ago. So no real updates because they didn't show the face of the mother because she hasn't been charged yet. So they still investigating. Still investigating, okay? So they haven't shown her face yet. So we'll do an update. I'll keep on top of this and do an update. But people, how many instances do we have to deal with this? I believe she went into her job. What's the story? Let's see. See what ChatGPT got for us. It happened Thursday, June the 26th, about 3:15 in p.m. in the afternoon at the mother's workplace. Says a child was unintentionally left in the mother's car for an extended length of time while outdoor temps were in the upper 80s. When the mother discovered him unresponsive, she called 911. Officers of fire performed CPR, but he was pronounced deleted, and no charges are filed yet. But we know neglect is on its way, even though she forgot that he was in the car. Now, how many times we got to see this? Is either people doing it because they got a gambling habit, people doing this because they got a lust habit, so they go to the club. People are lazy as shit, so they leave the kids in the car to go shopping. How many times we gotta hear this story? You know, this brings up some scriptures in mind. And you are about to find out where Mrs. O get ostriches from. Job 39:13. Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or the wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth and warmeth them in dust. Here's the kicker. And forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear. That's a parable of the ostrich towards forgetful or neglectful and abusive mothers. Lamentations 4:3. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. That's where ostriches come from. That's why Mrs. O uses that parable. This is ostrich behavior. This is snatch behavior. We recently bought a vehicle, pretty updated, and now it tells it on the dash, it says, check the rear seat. We are so consumed by our cell phones, by unnecessary burdens, and some are necessary, and worries, and we so stressed out, and we so bombarded with making sure that we get to work, so you know,
In the name of white
we
Jesus.
can produce for this system. That we forget our loved ones in the car to bake. So far, I mean, right now they're saying that yes, this was a mistake. and what have you. And I know she's going through it. However, we have a responsibility once we bring individuals into this world, okay? Stop being ostriches. Slow down a bit, okay? Stop trying to cut corners, especially with your children. That's something you should not be cutting corners with. She probably don't have any help, probably a single mother. And that's ties into what we was talking about earlier with the KMichelle Cam interview. Slow down a bit. Especially with your children. So my heart goes out to that child and his family. My heart goes out to the mother as well, because so far it's a mistake. Okay, we understand that. You know, there's grace with that. But when it comes to our children, we really don't have any room for error, especially with something like that. Okay? So let's get into our this week's tidbit in health. That's what's next. Tidbit in health. Let me cue that up for you. We're talking about obesity, related liver disease, obesity.
The rates of obesity-related liver disease continue to climb in the U.S., affecting about 100 million people, according to the National Institutes of Health. It's a leading reason for liver transplants. But experts say many patients may be denied those life-saving transplants based solely on their weight. Mandy Gaither talks to a man who says he was turned down for a transplant but found new life through dual surgery.
In December 2021, Eric Brooks found out his liver was failing. To continue living, he needed a transplant, but he says because of his weight, he was denied that surgery more than once. Without it, he was given months to live.
I wasn't necessarily worried about myself 100%. I was more worried, about my wife and my child, letting them down because, I'm going to die.
Brooks says for 2 years, there was no option for a transplant. Then he learned the Mayo Clinic could perform a bariatric surgery and liver transplant at the same time.
It was just, kind of a Hail Mary attempt it's our last chance to see if we can make this happen.
Transplant surgeon Dr. Julie Heimbach says it's not uncommon for patients to be denied transplants based solely on their weight. She says severe obesity is linked to more complicated surgeries, and a transplant is very complex.
So that approach is understandable, but on the other hand, that leads to patients who have otherwise treatable condition not being able to access that life-saving treatment.
In 2023, Heimbach performed a liver transplant with sleeve gastrectomy on Brooks. She says treating both conditions set him up for long-term success.
We're hopeful that Eric will have a normal lifespan.
He's now 200 pounds lighter, and the milestones he feared he'd miss are now memories he gets to carry with him.
For me, it's been life-altering. To be able to do things I've never in my adult life been able to do is amazing.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
They said for 2 years she was waiting for a liver transplant. You mean in 2 years you couldn't get your ass on a treadmill and get some discipline about yourself, do some intermittent fasting and get that weight off? A lot of the stuff that we go through is avoidable and reversible. Diabetes type 2. And if you catch your liver disease in time enough, you know, that's reversible. Stop contributing to what's stressing your liver out. Okay. Obesity can be fixed without drugs and operations, physical intervention, that type of way. You just need physical intervention on the treadmill. You know, you ain't even gotta be a gym rat. You can just, if you're not doing any activity, which this man obviously was, he was guilty of, walking, and let's say you're at that weight, I've seen it personally, where the individual complains of knee pain and hip pain. Then walk your ass up and down your driveway. Do enough where you start to perspire a little bit. Then go sit your ass down and do it the next day. Eventually, the weight gonna start coming off enough where the knees don't hurt as much and you can increase your activity and the weight come off some more and the knees don't hurt no more, and now you a gym rat. You can work yourself, or you just don't throw yourself in there. So obesity-related liver disease, fatty liver, is becoming a top killer. Okay? And if it's happening to the Edomites, you know it's happening to us tenfold. Check out this clip in regards to liver disease, 12 signs of liver disease you can see. Okay? Let me get this together right quick.
Breath could. Did you know that your skin, nails, even your breath could be revealing hidden clues about the health of your liver? Liver disease is far more common than most people realize. I see it every single day in the hospital, and often I can spot signs of liver disease the moment that I walk into a patient's room. So today I'm gonna show you the top 12 signs of liver disease so you know what to look out for. Take a look at your fingernails. They are constantly growing through a complicated, energy-intensive process. And as a result, changes in your health often show up in your nails. And liver disease is no exception. See these horizontal white lines running across the nail? These are Muirk lines. These lines are actually on the tissue underneath the nail, not on the nail itself. And if you apply pressure to the nail, they'll temporarily disappear. Of course, since the lines are underneath the nail, as your nail grows, the line will stay in the same place. It won't grow out. Here's another nail finding called Terry's nails. Look how strikingly pale the nails are. Normally, your nails have a pinkish color because of the tiny blood vessels that are in the tissue underneath your nail. But in liver disease, there are changes to that tissue which makes it difficult to see the tiny blood vessels, and that's why the nails are so pale. If you think that your nails look pale and you're wondering if you have Terry's nails, Then check for the lunula, which is this half moon at the base of the nail. Having a lunula is normal, so if you can see it, it's probably not Terry's nail. So both of these nail findings, Moiric's lines and Terry's nails, are both linked to low levels of albumin. Albumin is an important protein produced by the liver, and it's often quite low in the setting of liver disease. Next, I've got another test for you to try on yourself. If you love this kind of information and want your questions answered in a monthly live stream, then click the link up here to become a channel member. Put your nails together like this. Can you see a diamond-shaped gap between the bases of your nails? If you can, that's normal. But if you can't, and your nails look like this, it's called clubbing. And clubbing is caused by the proliferation of connective tissue between the nail and the finger bone, which makes it thicker than normal. While it can be genetic, if I see clubbing of the nails, I'm hunting for issues with the heart, lungs, or liver. I want you to take a look at this woman's belly. Your first thought might be that she's pregnant, but this is actually a very distended abdomen filled with fluid. This is called ascites. Shockingly, the abdomen can stretch and fill with upwards of 15 liters of fluid. So where exactly does this fluid come from? To understand this, you need to know about the portal vein. Basically, when you eat something, your small bowel absorbs what it can into your bloodstream, and all the blood from your digestive tract gets routed through the liver to protect your body from any dangerous substances that may have been absorbed through your intestines. The trouble is, as liver disease progresses, the liver becomes scarred and stiff, and that scar tissue starts to block the blood vessels going through the liver, making it harder for blood to flow through the portal vein. Think of it like pinching off a garden hose. It leads to increased pressure upstream in the portal vein, which we call portal hypertension. And because of all this extra pressure, a huge amount of fluid can leak through the walls of the portal vein and into the abdominal cavity. That's what causes ascites to build up. As you can imagine, this can be really uncomfortable for someone, and it can also make it difficult for them to breathe as the fluid pushes up on the diaphragm. So I'll often do a procedure called a paracentesis. This is where I put a large needle into the abdominal cavity and drain out that excess fluid. Here's a video of me in residency right after I completed a paracentesis. All those jugs are filled with liters of fluid that I drained out of a patient's abdomen, and you can just imagine how much better that patient felt. But portal hypertension doesn't just cause fluid buildup in the abdomen. It also forces blood to find a new route back to the heart. Since the portal vein is under high pressure, blood is rerouted through small veins that aren't designed to handle this extra flow. Think of it like Google Maps rerouting you through narrow back alleys when there's a major traffic jam. One place this happens is around the belly button, where tiny veins in the abdominal wall expand and become visible under the skin. This creates a really striking pattern of swollen, twisting veins. We call this caput medusa, named after the snake-covered head of Medusa from Greek mythology. And the same process can happen internally, particularly in the esophagus, where enlarged veins called varices can form. These esophageal varices are fragile and they're prone to rupturing and bleeding. And people with liver disease have difficulty forming blood clots to stop that bleeding. This is what makes variceal bleeds one of the most dangerous, life-threatening complications of liver disease. And if you ask anyone who works in the emergency department, they'll have a terrifying story about this type of bleeding. This is palmar erythema. Notice how it affects the area over the thenar and hypothenar eminences and spares the center of the palm. This can be caused by liver disease, but it can also be seen in pregnancy. So what do these two things have in common? High estrogen levels. The liver is responsible for breaking down estrogen. And when it's not working properly, estrogen builds up in the body. One of the effects that estrogen has on the body is causing blood vessels to dilate or get wider. High estrogen levels can also cause little blood vessels in the skin to dilate, so they look like this, sort of a spider-like shape, which is how they got their name, spider nevi. A really cool thing about spider nevi is that if you apply pressure to the skin, you can push the blood out of the vessels and they'll temporarily disappear. Now, having one or two of these can be perfectly normal, but if you have 3 or more spider nevi, then your estrogen levels are probably on the high side. And if you're not pregnant, it would make me start to wonder about liver disease. Liver disease also leads to muscle wasting. but this can sometimes be subtle and difficult to spot. A good place to check is the palm of the hand because the muscles are small and close to the surface. Another good place where I check for muscle wasting is around the temples. So why does this happen? Well, the liver is responsible for processing nutrients, making proteins, and storing energy. But when it's damaged, the body starts breaking down muscle for fuel instead. There's one more thing to look at in the palm before we move on. See the puckering of the skin in this picture? And notice how this person's fingers are curled in and unable to fully extend? This is called Dupuytren's contracture. It's a condition where the fascia in the palm thickens and tightens over time, which leads to progressive finger contractures, especially in the 4th and 5th digits. There can be many causes, including a strong genetic link. It's actually quite common in people of Northern European descent, and it's how it got its nickname Viking disease. So let's try a test together to check for Dupuytren's contracture. It's called the tabletop test, and all you do is lay your hand flat on a table and see if your palm can touch. If it doesn't, it could be because one or more of your fingers is too tight from a contracture. Here's another really useful test that I use all the time in the hospital, and it's easy to do yourself. Hold your arms out straight while extending your wrists and fingers. For most of us, that's probably pretty easy, right? But in liver disease, patients can develop an involuntary flapping hand tremor called asterixis. Here's an example of this in a middle-aged woman with advanced liver disease. And the reason behind this flapping movement demonstrates an interesting link between the liver and the brain. As you know, the liver is responsible for clearing out toxins from our body. And not just toxins that we ingest, like alcohol, but also toxins that come about from normal cellular function. One of those toxins is ammonia, which is produced from the breakdown of protein. Normally, our liver can just clear that away. But if the liver is damaged, then ammonia levels build up and that affects the brain. This is called hepatic encephalopathy. And the reason this flapping tremor happens is that the brain can't sustain muscle contractions. So it's like the brain sort of forgets, and then when it remembers, it starts contracting muscles again, and that causes this flapping movement. But hepatic encephalopathy can be far more serious than just a tremor. I remember one time I was assessing a patient who had come into the emergency department after his friend had found him unresponsive. Fortunately, his vital signs were stable, his blood sugar was normal, and there were no other signs of critical illness. So I did a really hard sternal rub to try to cause a little bit of pain and wake him up, but still no response. During the examination, I couldn't help but notice a really distinct, musty, sweet smell on his breath. I recognized that smell instantly. It's called fetor hepaticus, which is Latin for foul odor of the liver. Basically, it's caused by toxins like dimethyl sulfide that build up in the blood and then get breathed out with carbon dioxide. So I ordered stat blood work, which showed a very high ammonia level. And it turned out that this patient hadn't had a bowel movement in 3 days. So what? This patient became so constipated that he became unresponsive? In a way, yes. You see, bacteria in our intestines break down proteins and produce ammonia, which then gets absorbed into our bloodstream. Unfortunately, without regular bowel movements, there was an overgrowth of ammonia-producing bacteria in his colon. And because this patient had liver disease, he wasn't able to clear the ammonia from his body, so it built up and poisoned his brain. Fortunately, it's reversible. And interestingly, the treatment also has to do with the gut. We give a specific laxative called lactulose, which gets things moving, and it also converts ammonia into ammonium, which doesn't get absorbed into the bloodstream as easily. It's amazing to see how a laxative can clear somebody's mind and even have them wake up from an unresponsive state. Now, let's look at that video of asterixis one more time. Do you notice how her skin looks a little bit yellow? This is called jaundice. Basically, your liver is responsible for processing and eliminating bilirubin, a yellow substance produced when red blood cells break down. But when the liver isn't working properly, bilirubin can build up in the blood. And if levels get high enough, it can be quite dramatic, even changing the color of your urine to a dark yellow or a brown tea color. And this isn't the only cause of tea-colored urine. I made a whole video about what your urine says about your health, so I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to watch that video next. Easy bruising or bleeding is also another concerning sign. Now, I'm sure we've all noticed a bruise once in a while and thought, where did that come from? But if that's happening a lot, or the bruises are really big and taking a long time to go away, that could be a sign of liver disease. Now, your body creates blood clots to stop bleeding. And to make a blood clot, you need clotting factors and platelets. Clotting factors are proteins created by the liver. And in liver disease, those levels decrease. Platelets, on the other hand, are tiny blood cells that clump together to stop bleeding, and they're produced by the bone marrow. The liver comes into play because it makes a hormone called thrombopoietin, which tells the bone marrow to make platelets. And in liver disease, there's less of that hormone, so you end up with fewer platelets. And to make matters worse, the spleen is often enlarged in liver disease, and that can sequester platelets and take them out of circulation. Unfortunately, there's really no cure for liver disease, aside from getting a liver transplant. So prevention is key. I can do a whole video dedicated to this topic, but here it is in a nutshell. The top preventable causes of liver disease include alcohol, so minimize the amount that you're drinking, metabolic syndrome, which is linked to obesity and diabetes. This is probably the most common cause of liver disease that I see in the hospital these days. And the key to prevention is maintaining a healthy weight. And then there's chronic viral hepatitis, so that's hepatitis B and C. We have a vaccine against Hep B, so I highly recommend you get that. And about 10 years ago, a cure for Hep C was developed, which has been game-changing. So hopefully that will no longer be a significant cause of liver disease in the future. If you enjoy learning about signs of disease that you can see for yourself, then check out this.
All right, so you see the 12 physical signs of liver disease. If you see it on yourself, on a loved one, make the appropriate actions and get that stuff checked out and confirmed. And if you enjoy alcohol, minimize the intake, okay? Bring it down, all right? I've done so in the past month or so, and what have you, kind of took that out of the what we do on the show and what have you, because ultimately alcohol use is negative. It's not very productive. The body considers it a poison and what have you. The Bible says to drink in moderation, okay? And that doesn't mean a glass or a couple of shots a night. You need to spread that out more than that, okay? So take care of yourself. And like I said, if you see any of these signs on yourself or on a loved one, make the appropriate actions and get things checked out. All right. Next is that hot video. Let me cue that up for you. All right, enjoy the video.
Drowning, and I'm back from the dead. The haters still defy me, and I'm proof of his power, and you're still lying. It's hard for me to see how you still don't believe. You still don't believe. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus, Lazarus.
I heard they looking for Lazarus, where he go? I don't know, you seen the dead walk? Dollars only time I seen the dead talk. They couldn't fathom the resurrection right in front of their eyes. Once was dead, never felt more alive, and yet they want my demise. What is it that you despise about a spirit deprived inside that barely survived in perilous times? Revive, take strides, make up for wasted time. Really change and say he ain't worth a dime? Free your mind.
You wanna kill somebody, will kill the old man. Blinded by your hatred, he made it, so you can't understand. You can't see his power, he's showing. He took me by the hand and raised me from the grave. It's a shame, you still don't believe the man. I walked the depths of the earth to fulfill his plan. My calling and electing a blessing. I gave it all to stand. Oppression and recession, but destined to gain Jehovah's brand. Plucked out the fire, you liars will never see the land. You better open up your heart and receive his wisdom. I'm shining brighter than the diamond, you can see this prism. It's darkness if you don't hearken, so be free from this prison. For you awaken the king that bring legions of vengeance.
And you awaken the Father that wipes the tears of his children. For vision's sake and opens ears so they hear it. Now let the gospel speak. Mansions only made for the meek, and thrones were made to take seats for the elect, and the rest is of shit's creek. Don't try me.
And I'm back from the dead. The haters still defy me. And I'm proof of his power, and you're still lying. It's hard for me to see how you still don't believe. You still don't believe. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus, Lazarus, yeah. Try me. And I'm back from the dead. The haters still defy me. And I'm proof of his power, and you're still lying. It's hard for me to see how you still don't believe. You still don't believe. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus. I feel like Lazarus, Lazarus, yeah.
Well, it's an interesting journey tonight. Seemed like the main focus was on KMichelle and her bullshit. And like I said earlier, you know, it's this rhetoric, where you want to blame the man, and ultimately men are the pillars, men are the leaders. And we do have to get our act together as a whole. But women, when you do have a man that has his act together, don't buck up. Don't cause strife, create issues. See, you at fault for that. You at fault for choosing Pookie over a working man. You want the gangster. You want the one that gets the fast money. You want the scammer. To you, that's masculinity. To you, someone who has the balls to break the law is exciting to you. You want someone that you think you can fix. and you broken yourself. Ultimately, things are not going to change until we all get the understanding that we must all respect and submit ourselves to a central stack of laws, to a lack of better words. We got to come back to our heritage. And what we have here in America right now ain't it. And that's why we are where we at. That's why we are experiencing so many dysfunctions at the same time. We're experiencing so many dysfunctions, we don't know where to start. And no matter how many people get on YouTube or any place else and speak on it, it's gonna be the same shit tomorrow. Because most of us enjoy the do as thou wilt spirit and all the sinful pleasures that come with it and all the bullshit excuses that you can use to not be accountable for your bullshit, for your sins. I believe Sean Combs is going to get out of this, but I wanted to bring up what I believe initiated this, and I had a coworker who brought up one point, and then Mrs. O brought up a second point. The first point is Sean Combs spearheaded the platform Revolt. Do you recall that? That was the first one. Matter of fact, let's check out some stuff about Revolt. ChatGPT brought up that in between 2019 and 20, Diddy issued a public statement blasting Comcast for citing Revolt in his U.S. Supreme Court fight with Barron Allen over Section 1981 civil rights protection, carriage and funding disputes, accusations that Comcast used Revolt as a token example of the diversity. The dust-up highlighted Revolt's limited distribution and reignited debate over minority-owned media access. And, you know, Comcast is not owned by us anymore, right? That was that. And then Sean Combs had a fallout in regards to a liquor that he used to promote. What was the name of that liquor? Anybody know? I forget it. I'm gonna wait for somebody to put it in the chat for me. It was all Ciroc. Was it Ciroc? Ciroc. So he had sued for his share or earnings that he did not receive with the Ciroc. So even though Sean is in his lustful sins and what have you, he, in his own way, tried to do a little what he believed was something for his people with Revolt. And he bucked up against his handlers with his actions with the Ciroc. And shortly after Ciroc, here comes what he's going through right now. That's what's going on. And anytime you don't stay in line with your handlers, this has been the outcome. We've seen it many a time. Parents, slow down. Slow down with your kids. Slow down with how you deal with them, with the discipline. Slow down with them out in public. We've seen this way too many times. Every time summer hit, kids are getting baked in the car. All right? So we're going to head up out of here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to rock with us tonight, and we appreciate and love you for that thing. All right? One more thing before I go. You see the outfit that KMichelle had on tonight? That is a pure example on what I'm talking about as you are your brother and sister's keeper. Okay? Put on attire like that makes another person lust after you. Oh, it's their choice to lust. Why ignite, turn on that demon in them? Why be the one? Let's do a better job of not being the caveat to other people's, what other people's demons, what they're dealing with. Okay? That's one way to help heal the nation. All right? So with that, you are your brothers and sister keeper. And with that, we out. See you next week. Be safe. Be prosperous. One.
And he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talitha Kumi, which is, being interpreted, damsel, I say unto thee, arise. Wake up! Wake up! Talitha Kumi. Talitha Kumi. Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek.
Yo, resurrected, elected from the grave. I ain't worried about a demon defeat me, not today. I'ma stand on my feet with the meek. We on the way, dry bones in the valley. I'm rallying for the sage. Dry bones in the valley, living but underpaid. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We need change. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We feel shame. Holy Spirit, make your presence known. We need flames.
As hard as these words is simply just the canvas that I wrote on. Can't supplement the faith, no creatine, but it's so strong. In our youth, we used to hit the block, getting our roll on. Now we take the gospel to the blocks we so dope on. Those that tried to stop our faith, we told you so long. The rise of my people with these heathens trying to prolong. Been through so much, but we still gotta hold on. Like back when the lights was off, we turned the stove on. Searching for warmth in these cold streets. Oh, since we woke up the truth, we can't get no sleep. My thoughts so deep, trying to get my folks to see the picture, but we hitting rock bottom, trying to wrestle with the scriptures. It's crazy, demonic forces messing with your mental health. Got all 5 senses, but you still lack sense of self. Without the Lord, your life sagging. Go and get a belt, and like that old Jordan commercial, stop and get some help. Please, WAKE, open up your KJV. We shaking up the world so you can't stay asleep. When you open up your eyes, they see. IUIC, we on our grind. Bring a light to the world, let a star shine. So we pray without he sent for our kind. Gotta stack them up to the third heaven till we give Raphael a hard time. Dead bodies, dead conscience, dead presidents, they said commas. But that's a coma, ain't it evident that's head trauma? They said a lot, but that's irrelevant. The devil been working overtime without the scheduling. The medicine prescribed, that's the word of my God. You'll never be alive unless you let the spirit inside. Vampires throw the shade on them, but daywalkers keep the blade on them. Get cut to the core, but never fade on them. Live again.
Out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep, and receive His Spirit. You know I'm talking to the meek. Wake up out of your slumber, wake up out of your sleep,